Hey, it's Tim Wood here on our maiden voyage of Lowcountry Chronicle. Uh, we've teased it for a while now, but we are live, technically on tape, and really excited to start talking to some movers and shakers around the Lowcountry. Uh, if you want to follow us on Facebook, if you're just seeing this for the first time, uh, it's very simple. Just go to facebook.com groups.locron, like you see up on the screen now. Uh, Same thing in terms of Twitter, uh, at Locron. Very simple as we start building out our social media. Very excited to talk to, like, when I got back to the Low Country. One of the first things I asked one of my good friends, Barry Kaufman, was, "What do I need to follow?" Because I was a little out of touch for lived here for 10 years, a little out of touch being gone for 4 years. A lot happened in 4 years, and one of the things that happened was this incredible Facebook group called Low Country, Bluffton Hilton Head Ask and Answer, and it was just an amazing resource for a newbie here, and really excited to bring on today one of uh, the creator of uh, Ask and Answer, Heather Price. Heather, how are you? I really appreciate you joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm good. I'm well.
So, tell me in terms of just how this got started in the Ask and Answer.
Sure, no problem. I remember it distinctly. My daughter was an infant. I was home all day. Facebook was kind of my connection. So I remember going on Facebook one day and there was a buy sell group for men only. And it was quite popular. I think it's still out. It's just a different name than it was then. But somebody asked a question, and it wasn't related to buying or selling, and they got roasted by many people. And I just felt for them, and I'm like, huh, there really should be somewhere where people can go and just ask a question. And there wasn't anything. It was all buy sell groups or interest only groups. And so I immediately discounted it, talked myself out of it. Nobody's going to do that. What was I thinking? Blah, blah. A few weeks later, again, the same thing happened, except this time it was a young woman and they roasted her, and it was about a spider. I will never forget this. And she fired back and said, listen, I just moved here from like Illinois. We don't have these kinds of bugs. And I've been here a week and my husband just deployed. And I have a 10-month-old. I don't know anybody. And this is the fourth spider like this I've killed. And I'm worried for my son. Like, is this okay? They're huge. We don't have these up north. And right then I was like, there needs to be a group because they were just so rude. And so I said something to my sister, and I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to use it. And she's like, just do it. And if they don't, then it just goes away. It's whatever. So if you go back to the beginning, it's all me asking, where do I get sushi? I don't even really like sushi. Where's a good dry cleaner? Trying to get people used to, I just invited all my friends and family. I've lived here a long time, so anybody I have ever met, I invited. And
And when
here
was
we are,
that? When you first started it?
2015.
2015. Wow.
Yeah.
And how quickly did you see it grow?
I think, well, I can actually remember this distinctly because it was before Hurricane Matthew, and many people think that it started because of Matthew, but it was around a good year plus um, before Matthew. And so, right when Matthew came, so about a year and a few months later, we were sitting at around 2,500 people, maybe 3,000. Um, and I always envisioned it kind of being an old small town coffee store, coffee shop, where people would go in and get the latest news and, you know, kind of like an online bulletin board. The garage sales are here, lost dog here, help wanted. Does anybody know where I can get blah, 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 that kind of thing. And it really did have that feel for quite a long time.
When did you really start to see it explode?
Hurricane Matthew.
Yeah, and so you went from hundreds to how many? Like 10,000?
Exactly.
It
In less than like 5 months, because it wasn't even just the actual approaching hurricane evacuation and aftermath. It was the long-term aftermath and the great need that ended up um, people needed help, and it was long-term. Um, so the page has continuously kind of morphed, and it's been an interesting journey.
what how have you kind of I think one of the big things I notice, I mean, social media can be such a cesspool of
Oh, yes.
negativity. And one of the things I notice is you keep it very positive focused. Is that um, is, is that a lot of work? Is that or has the group just adapted?
It ebbs and flows, actually. Sometimes trash takes itself out, and it doesn't have to be such work. Um, it ebbs and flows. There have been some very negative experiences and a lot of growing pains, and I am very empathic and I feel things, and I took a lot of things to heart, and I would find myself like explaining, but what I really meant was, or I'm sorry you took it like that. However, this is, and eventually I just got thicker skin and realized that I physically and emotionally could not do that to everybody, because you're not going to please everybody. This has been a huge learning curve. And so, I realized I need more moderators. Right when Matthew happened, I brought in my friend Tony Ellison, who's been amazing, and kept me very grounded sometimes, and kept me out of jail a couple times when I really wanted to throw hands with a couple people. But um, and I brought her on just to help add people on the page, because I do try the best I can to keep it local. You either have to have ties here, meaning, your kids live here, you have a second home here, things like that. You've lived here forever and moved away, but you still want to be connected. Um, but so just the influx of people, it was very challenging to try and vet everybody trying to come through, and I was
Absolutely.
adding 100 a day. And so, I do try and keep it, for a while we were doing Thankful Thursday. So, I had, and everything has been born because something has happened. So I was at Publix one day, and a lady in front of me, the lady in front of her did something really nice. And I thought, oh, they don't even know each other. There should be a place where somebody can thank them, like publicly, and so we did Thankful Thursdays for a while. It's just um, ebbs and flows.
That's awesome. The in terms of um, what you've seen with I think what blows my mind. So in media for 30 years, seen seen the way we consume news change drastically a number of times. What I love about the group is it's a media source. I mean, you put a lot of immediate news out there, in terms of whether it's I just saw the in person court sessions news that you put out. You've put out accidents, school press releases. this has turned into a news source. Did
Hmm.
did you did you envision that? And as it started happening, how did you embrace that?
That was interesting. So again, it all relates back to Matthew, where the page completely took a different turn. Um, and, I have an emergency medical background. And so as hurricane was happening, I knew what was going on behind the scenes just because I had, been in emergency medicine. So I was anticipating what the next release was going to be and kind of already preparing for that and how we were going to manage that. And so one thing that I did kind of figure out after doing this, because then right after Matthew, we had a big winter storm and it shut us down for quite a while. And that also then was on the heels of Matthew. And so I realized that people couldn't get too far ahead, and a lot of media as a whole, they fill airtime and they fill print space, and they talk a lot about of what may happen, and that it's too much noise. Like,
Yes.
let's focus on so the way that I run this page when there is an emergency or a hurricane or what's happening right now, what's the next step? That's it. We're not talking about anything else past that. And I will shut down the page. I will put posts up for, okay, this is what the officials are saying about how and when we're evacuating. Then once most people have evacuated, we put up posts about traffic so that if you're on 26, if you're doing the back roads, then it's kind of like the Waze where people that are actually driving it can say, it's backed up, don't even bother, whatever. Then when people have arrived where they're evacuating, then I bring it back to what's happening on the island right now. I stayed during Matthew and Irma, and then bring everybody back, and then figure out what people need. During Matthew, there was a lot of need. And I think what people don't realize is, if you are a school teacher, let's say, and you have a regular salary and you make a certain amount of money, you don't qualify for help. But then you have an emergency and you now need food, but you don't technically qualify. So there's a gap. You just need it temporarily. So our page filled the gap, and that was kind of neat to see. And so, I think media, it's just a lot of noise, and it's so much talking about, like, even during the pandemic, all these experts about what may happen. It just keeps people in this frenzied state of hyper awareness, and
It's when
it's
it's
so
meant for
anxiety.
ratings and it's meant for clicks.
It's
I mean, it's
awful.
what's turned me off. Again, like it's embarrassing in this day and age to be called a journalist, quite honestly, or a member
I
of media. And I've
I
had
could
that
see
conversation with
why.
many people because when we started Bluffton today, for instance, the whole idea was hyper local. Neighbors telling neighbors what's going on, and
Yes.
getting out of the way and not talking from this ivory tower and not doing this clickbait crap. I
Yes,
mean, it's just
I'm with you. I mean, and then when they're talking, especially on video, on television, they have the running ticker tape of, like, it's
it
no
is.
wonder
It's
our
it's like
kids are just
it's
we're
sensory
bombarded.
overload.
And I can't, I couldn't run the page like that, because then we kept getting down these rabbit holes, and then everybody's bringing in opinions, and it just became unmanageable. And it just again evolved that now there is a structure. The moderators have, obviously, we talk behind the scenes and we plan, or I will just say, this okay, we're doing this until this emergency passes or whatever. Case in point, when something big happens in the community, such as the tragedy that we just experienced, once I get wind of it, we immediately come together, and we immediately, like, jump on the page. It's I call all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck. Roll call.
And it's
So
not just it's not just this is what happened. What I love about it is there's immediate action in terms of how can we help
yeah,
and what can we do and um, how can we show support. That's I, I mean it's so needed, especially we're all feeling less connected than ever at this moment. Getting better, obviously, but um, it just it blows my mind, honestly. And I've said this to you many times. I don't mean to sound like a suck up because I just not. I just this is everything that I want community journalism to be, quite honestly.
thank you.
And I get a little verklempt when I say that because it's like this is what it's supposed to be. This is neighbors helping neighbors. This is
Hmm.
keeping people informed. Just putting facts out there. It's great to have conversations like you and I are having now, and but like you said, when it just gets so much noise and we start, oh, how do we have to forward this story? How do we get eyeballs on this? Like that's not what news was ever meant to be.
Right. And then again, like I said, like, you put something out, but then you have all the commentary, and then people get confused. Well, wait a minute. I thought the officials said this. So why, like, so it just, again, Matthew, I had no idea. I literally, when I look back on it, am a little bit, I just, whoa, whoa, because I'm not kidding. During Matthew, I literally put my head down and then just started next thing, next thing, next thing. And like 6 days later, I looked up. Um, so there was a lot of confusion in the media. I was watching, I remember I lost power at my house, so I stayed at my sister's in the farm, but I didn't know like where her like pens and paper were. And so I ran to the kitchen when there was this news briefing that I wasn't expecting. And I will never forget, I was writing notes on paper plates. And so that I could, so I would watch the news, I would take detailed notes, and then I would put it in on the page. And I was watching one news source while I had another one on, and they were talking about the same thing, but it was conflicting. And so I kind of then started working sources just because I've lived here for so long, and said, tell me like what's accurate, and then would just start putting that out. And then again, like when Nikki Haley, who was our governor, released us from the evacuation order, but didn't make it clear. And she did an amazing job, I do have to say. No matter where you fall on the political spectrum, that woman handled Hurricane Matthew like a boss, in my
It's true.
opinion. In my opinion, there was no wavering. It was decisive. I mean, however, on the back end, it was not made clear that when a governor releases the order of evacuation, the power gets handed back to the local officials. And people thought that meant everybody could just come back. And there was a lot of problems behind the scenes. I don't Hilton, it was bad. It was just bad. They had blocked off 170. Nobody could get on the island. Influx of people ended up sitting on the side of the road for 2 days. We were trying to get formula, but we couldn't get to that Jasper County because we wouldn't get back into Beaufort. So we were tag teaming like formula down to the cars. Like we were trying to get tents so people could at least get out of their car. It was crazy, but some beautiful things happened. I don't know if you saw, but Laundry for Linemen was started. Somebody had an idea. Um, I had linemen's wives message me even a while later and said, like, my husband still talks about that, how great Bluffton was and all the home cooked meals. And we literally had, and that's the thing. I do know how to delegate, which is great. I learned that quick too. Like, I can't do it all. So somebody had that idea. I kind of got it started and passed it off, and it grew. They grew it. My page would just became the vessel, you know.
Do you n- now you've got over approaching 25,000 members? Um, do you feel a weight now, a responsibility in terms of when things happen, or uh, to 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 be out there?
Sometimes, not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah. I
Sometimes.
can't. It takes on a life of its own, and it's become such a valuable resource to the community that it's like I've heard this from everybody. It's like where they look first. And again, I don't mean to put that put that pressure on you, but I mean it's a testament to what you guys have built because, um, you know, uh, and again, I had this conversation with a lot of people when we're talking about like media around here, and trying to figure out what like because I've run newspapers. I started a community newspaper up in Massachusetts, kind of trying to be what we were doing with Bluffton Today originally. Because I care. I care about the future
Mhm.
of community journalism, and so I'm constantly have these conversations, and your old school folks can't understand this concept that this is news. Like this is a media source. This is a community resource, and they hate it when I say, okay, Packet, Bluffton Today, WHHI, the Savannah stations. No, ask and answer that and it's become that and and on so many fronts. I mean, did you ever imagine it being this kind of I got a guy thing? The recommendations that happen so often on the site. It was um, you've got a lot of different you've got a lot of different tentacles happening in terms of the
Mhm.
way people post on there.
Mhm. Absolutely. I will say it's gotten a little easier. I resisted for so long doing post approval. People used to go on because I'm like, then it's not the computed community. And I mean, some people don't think this, but I weigh things very carefully, or I take it to the team and we debate, and we don't always agree. But I never want them, the moderators, and I have a great Michael and
Yeah,
Lindsay and
shout them out.
Tony and
Absolutely.
oh my gosh, Brant, love him or hate him. um, and Christy, we take it, we'll take it and debate it and do. I said, tell me all the reasons why not. Tell me all the reasons why too, because I mean, the more opinions represents the whole of the page. And, we don't always agree. There have been a couple times where I'm like, you know what? Nope. I'm sorry. Like, I don't agree. But for the most part, and, they had been saying maybe we should do post approval. And I just really was resistant to that because I didn't want people to say that I pick and choose and accused me of that. And I felt like it kind of took away from the community being able to just post. And then the possum happened. I don't know if you remember that, but on Hilton had the
Yes.
possum that was injured, and it took a whole life of its own. It made international news, and it got, love them or hate them, animal rights people. I'm a huge animal advocate.
Same.
I'm a tree hugger. I'm a environmentalist, feminist, whatever you want to label me, but I am all about the animals. But when you have a subject, animals, children, elderly, politics, that people are so impassioned about, tempers flare, people turn into people that they wouldn't mean, they don't really mean to be. And it was really ugly and brutal. I was getting a lot of threats because I wasn't allowing certain posts to go up. The deluge of misinformation that people were reposting. It just, so we shut it down, and it actually ended up making our life so much easier. um, our post reports have gone down significantly since we've done post approval. So we can catch the advertisements before they hit. We can, so they were right. The moderators,
Yeah.
I was wrong.
I mean,
um,
sadly, you've got you've got 20,000 plus people there. I mean, folks are gonna want to post
Everything.
are gonna want to get free advertising and free marketing on there. If you don't have
Right,
that post approval.
right. Um, and I have pulled back. I mean, I recognize that I can't do it all, like I said. And so, we're getting ready to probably advertise for more moderators as we grow. We're all busy. I've got a new job, you know, Brant works and also does National Guard, and Mike, like everybody, Lindsay has 3 kids and they're all little. Christy just got married. Tony just adopted a baby. Like we're all like our lives, 2020 pandemic, you know.
Did you know all these folks beforehand, or is
Nope.
this just folks that you became active on the page?
Tony, I knew, and I didn't give her a choice.
Yeah.
She was, and she's not allowed to leave ever. She's tried a couple times,
Yeah.
but that's not a thing. Um, And no, I put out an advertisement that if you enjoy being yelled at, always accused of, we joke about it. We're gonna
Favoritism
get,
and
yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna get shirts made because, one of us gets accused of having an agenda. Like we're gonna get shirts made.
yeah.
We joke all the time, but yeah, I put this whole thing. If you like being yelled at, can't do anything right. Messaged continuously, blah, blah, please apply. So, um, you know, now that we have more people, we vote, we talk about it, and I mean, in the beginning, it makes more work to try and, kind of, I don't want to use the word teach, but teach people how to, how we do things
Sure.
and how it runs. And, I do say, for especially for doing it for free for all these years. um yeah, Matthew, I was on there 17 hours a day, no joke, with a 2-year-old.
Oh my goodness.
17 hours a day,
Wow.
because like I said, the aftermath, people were without food, people were without heat,
Yep.
people were without roofs. People couldn't come back. I ended up getting access to Hilton Head, and we ended up in Hilton Head Plantation, through a property management company to check on properties. And it was the first time I'd ever gone Facebook Live to show people the island.
Uh,
And I said, hey, I'm in Hilton Head Plantation. Send me your address. I'll look. And so we ended up running house to house to house, and I'd take a picture and send it to them privately. I'm like, I'm not going to do that on the page, but I'll send you a private. We rescued animals, like legit, because people, we get spoiled. We evacuate and we come back the next day, or
yeah.
2 days later. People left their animals, not anticipating that we wouldn't be back for a week. So, a lot of things happened with Matthew, and the page kind of changed, I think, in a lot of good ways.
How
But
has
it
this?
did lose that little, the bigger it's gotten, it's lost the little coffee shop feel. And that's the core. And then we've just expanded, but that is always the core,
Yeah.
always. And it's been challenging to get officials to recognize the, um,
Are they sending you press releases
validity.
directly now?
Bob Romage and I work hand in hand when there's things happening.
Okay.
Or I will message
I
him
can see
sometimes
that.
and
Yeah, and I
say,
can see
hey,
that stuff gets out there very quickly.
or I will message him and say, hey, I'm hearing rumblings about this, this, and this. You might want to, look into it and let me know. Or he will message me. He has access now. So if he needs to put out an emergency thing, instead of tracking me down, he can just put it on the page. And sometimes we overlap each other, but that's okay. You can't, you know. Um,
What do you think the resistance in terms of officials is just
I mean,
not
I'm
you're not media,
correct.
and I think I would argue again, and I've had this conversation with a lot of officials already since being down here. I would argue you're the most important media source, and that I, I I think this. I hope this will help them just seeing you,
Hmm.
and seeing the people behind it, because they need to understand that. They need to
Well, I do
understand.
take that part very seriously.
Yeah,
Um, for several reasons. One, I don't want to have false information. I'm not going to be the
the
clickbait.
gossip
I want to
monger,
be
and yeah,
reputable. I can't, our page can't, again, it morphed and it's just become this. It literally did not start out this way. And I, I want this page to be legit because I want people, we do help people, and there are some serious things that happen. I mean, I
absolutely.
have people message me, that don't want to ask the question themselves, divorce attorney, or, um, there's my kid needs rehab. Can you help? I don't know what to
Absolute
do.
addiction or awful things
Um,
happening in people's lives. Yeah,
Domestic violence. I've had several women reach out. Can you help me? I need out like tonight. Um, that's happened a few times. So my background is in emergency medicine, and human services is my degree. I've lived here forever. I do know enough people that there are many times that I know who to connect them with to get them the help. I I didn't anticipate a page that started out asking about dry cleaning and sushi to become what it has,
yeah.
but here we are. But here we are. And
And it's
I
got to
I do
amaze you. It
take
always
it
amazes me.
seriously.
It
I normally don't ever, and I say normally because I just did for pretty much the first time ever, jump official media sources when the shooting in Bluffton happened, because that was just so gut wrenching and people were hurting.
yes.
And I just wanted to get something out there. But I normally we already have a plan, and then we wait and we monitor very closely, WSAV, the packet
Yep.
for whoever hits it first, then we share it.
And it's there's this
I
rush to
I
be first
wish
nowadays.
I mean, I
And
wish that I could go on and say things that but again, I'm not the packet. I'm not WSAV. So we are very aware of that. I do not want misinformation,
yeah,
at all. Like, it's very important to me, and I try very hard, and I don't always get it right, but there are stories sometimes that are evolving, and you don't know all the facts until the investigation or the end. Um, so I do work really, really hard on that part, and that is very important to me, that we are giving accurate, timely as we can do without quote unquote being official, um, accurate. And then we don't just drop the story there. Then we take it, you know,
what a shocking concept.
right.
You don't just drop the
Right.
story
Like,
there.
I knew that meal trains and things would be coming for the families of this last thing, and I
Yeah.
immediately reached out to the family. Um, and, I have lost a child. I know kind of everybody swoops in for a little bit, and then
And it goes away.
and then they go away to the next new, next thing, and they have their own lives. And, I think that is one thing, if I do toot my horn a little bit, is that I can anticipate the next thing. Like, that's how I run the page. We do this now and the next, and then we'll see where we are. And then, I always like to be one step ahead, so I have a plan. But, a lot of,
How much time a week do you spend on it?
I don't even know. Not as much.
Now, what's
I've
your
gotten
immediate
some
family?
boundaries.
What'd you say?
um, I said I've gotten some more boundaries. I've got moderators.
Yep.
It has been a godsend with post approval. Um, so the what has helped with that is that it's not a free for all. Then it has lessened the arguing and the comments. Um, Not that it doesn't still happen on a post that we've approved. It's just a lot less volatile. Sometimes posts sneak through. I mean to hit decline and I'll hit accept just because there's so many. And the power went out the other night in an area and there were like 20, like, why is the power out? Hey, is anybody else's power out? So I accepted a couple of them and then I was deleting the rest. And then I accidentally deleted a couple that I didn't mean to. I'm like, well,
They'll hit back if yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So
so tell me a little bit in terms of yourself. Family. Do you have family in the area?
I do. I have a sister. I have my father and his wife, my daughter, um, who's in elementary school.
I was gonna say
So
probably 8 now.
6.
Oh, 6. Okay. All right. I was
Yeah. Keep her little. Keep her little.
right. Don't rush it. Yep.
My son is grown and he grew up here and he has his own family in Kentucky.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I was young. It's okay. It's all right. I took biology quite seriously in high school. Um, got an A. So yeah, I mean, I have family in North Carolina and Michigan. So went to high school here and
Where'd you go?
Hilton Head.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
College.
USCB.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Graduated with human services and proficiency in Espanol, but let's not go there.
married.
Nope.
So raising the daughter.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Um, God bless you. That's
Thank
a
you. Yeah.
that I can't even imagine. That's a lot of
Love
work.
her. She's a full-time job. Love her. She's either going to run a prison gang or a Fortune 500. There will be no in between. So she is a full-time job.
You know, and uh, part of what I wanted to do this honestly is to have everybody, like you said, everybody's so concerned about when you're posting stuff on social media. Everything's got to be in motion. There's got to be things that keep popping up on the screen. There's got to be there's got to be tickers. Oh gosh, I want to just have conversations that breathe and like
Yep.
talk to people. You know,
Right.
it's a crazy concept.
We've I have so many times tried to think of a way to create kind of a sub page. I don't know what the word is there, but um, where we can open up conversations. I just haven't quite figured out how to navigate or moderate that because it can't necessarily just be a complete free for all. But I do think that there is room and space, and I think enough people are kind of begging for a way to disagree and have healthy
Civil
conversations.
discourse.
Exactly. And I'm still working on that. We were going to create a page that was just, I can't tell you the name of it on live, but we were going to create just a page where people could just say whatever they want and may the force be with you. Um, but yeah. So
Have you heard of
I,
Clubhouse?
mm-mm.
It's this new audio only app. Um, exclusive apparently for now, but I mean um, I've got I think Charlie Wetmore sent me an invite. It's all audio and it's just rooms. You start a room, have conversations. You have moderators. You can essentially invite people to the stage. People raise their hand if they want to talk.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. Yes,
It's crazy. It's
that's
really
awesome.
cool. It's not being used among the masses now, but I would definitely check it out honestly if that's
Okay.
because
Yeah,
it's yeah.
I mean, there's, things will happen like what just happened in Bluffton where, or the whole Black Lives movement or Matter movement, or, there's so many issues. I mean, our school system needs an overhaul. So
They're not
America is
being talked
broken.
about, like,
No, and I want to talk about it.
yeah, like
Um,
there's no media sources out there, media sources that are having those, and that's part of what we wanted to do here is just start to have some of those conversations, start to bring on the people, and sometimes opposing viewpoints. Yeah, again, crazy
mhm.
concept to have civil discourse, but um, because that's the one thing I don't see. I mean the resources in the newsrooms are shrinking every day. The packet is shrinking every day. Bluffton today is and again I no disrespect to the folks that are still there, but it's a supermarket shopper now compared to what it was in terms of when it was daily. And I'm a little biased about that, but it's and uh, there's only so much time on the Savannah stations. I just had a You remember Holly Bounds? You still, yeah,
Yeah,
you talked to
yeah, I'm friends
Holly
with
Bounds
her.
Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, just had a conversation with her. I did a story for CH2 on her and just about how she got so frustrated that the Lowcountry stories were always buried at 6:27 on the newscast. And they had this. Do you remember My Lowcountry 3?
Oh my gosh, yes, I do.
Right? That was
Yeah,
amazing.
yep.
That was amazing. And I was at Bluffton and I was working with her on it at the time, and it had such potential. And then they just, corporate folk gave up on it.
Always corporate.
It is. It's always. Um, how how has the page been in during the pandemic, as in relation to Matthew?
Um, Harder in some ways. I, for a long time, was doing, I believe, at one point daily, the numbers and giving updates on that. And it took a lot.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, I'm happy to do it, but when you're not getting paid or, compensated, there comes a point. I mean, it just became a lot. So I did took stopped doing it daily and started doing it like twice a week or three times a week, and then went down to just Fridays, and then I just kind of phased out. But yeah, um, I don't know. We did a lot of community stuff. A lot of neat. Again, change comes a lot of times when it's forced, and that forced a lot of people to have to do things differently. Obviously, cook more at home, slow down, weird concept, um, you know, deal with bored children at home all day, every day.
Yep.
And, some groups came out of that. There was the whole restaurant where they tried to keep the restaurants alive, and that was amazing. So, of course, we promoted that.
Sure.
There were scavenger hunts going on in neighborhoods and the schools, and so just trying to keep people. I did a lot on mental health.
That's
We did mental health check-ins.
which is amazing.
We did I posted a lot about the how to reach out for suicide, what the signs were. um, we did a lot. Here's local numbers that you can reach out to. About twice a month, yeah, we would do mental health check-ins. I'm okay, I'm not okay, I need somebody to talk to. People would, during Matthew, we started buddies. So we had hurricane buddies. Again, everything happens because something happened. I went into a candy store on Hilton Head to stock up on my ask and answer candy supplies because that's what I need. And so I'm getting my gummy bears and all my things. And the clerk was an older woman. It wasn't Matthew, it might have been Irma. Anyway, and she I knew that they were going to shut down the islands. The sea islands were going to be evacuated. And so I went ahead and told her because she was alone. And she's like, I don't have anywhere to go. So I'm like, we really should have hurricane buddies where if there's a single person that doesn't have anywhere to go, they can come inland and go to someone's house and sleep in the guest room and have a meal. And so we created hurricane buddies, and that a few people, not as many as I hoped, but a few people did do that, and I think that lady was one of them.
Have you
So that was cool.
have you thought about turning this into like a nonprofit?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know how that would exactly work. Because it ebbs and flows. We don't need hurricane buddies unless there's a hurricane. We don't like it's situational so many of the time. It's literally what's happening locally at the time and what those needs are, sprinkled in with a few regular, domestic violence, but I know where to route them,
Sure.
or rental assistance or, and I'll give them a list and I'm like, if that doesn't work, message me back and we'll figure it out.
Have you had local organizations want to partner with you in terms of getting information out there, or
I would love that.
yeah, I just
I just want to be able, having said that, growing pains, I would want to be able, and I'll just go ahead and put this out there right now. I would want to be able not to maintain control because I'm a control freak, but I've always had this vision. We have the core. I don't want to deviate from that.
yeah, this
So,
is what you. I mean, you do have the right
yeah,
to keep, and I think that's what people have gravitated towards is you've kept it
consistent,
consistent and you've
I
stuck
think.
to the mantra, you've stuck to the game plan, and that's your right. I mean,
Right.
that's
So, when people partner or throw, I don't know, and not just at me, but, um, throw money, then they want to control that.
yep.
And it's not, I don't mind delegating. I don't mind as long as we're all on the same page. But I don't want it to be turned into clickbait. I don't want that. It's not going to happen. Absolutely not going to. I'll do this for free forever because it's not going to happen.
And honestly, that's what I'm struggling with, Heather. Is you nailed it. You nailed it in terms of when money gets involved, people want control or say or um, you know the idea behind this. I did start a nonprofit behind this, the Lowcountry Online Journalism Initiative. Um, so the idea is we want to grow this in terms of being an information source, a conversation source, uh, but uh, we will need community support. This
Mhm.
is essentially the idea of a nonprofit news organizations growing around the country, and it's essentially you're asking for donate. It's a PBS. It's a sort of a PBS sort of thing, an NPR sort of thing, on a very community level.
Local.
But
Hmm.
like you said, when you start asking for money, and I'm awful at asking for things. Period.
Me
So
too.
that's what I'm struggling with.
Me
is,
too.
is
Which is probably why it's never. I mean, to be completely honest, a lot of businesses have made a lot of money off because it is a referral source.
yeah.
I
Yep.
don't allow advertising, but when Judy in Sun City asks for carpet cleaners and you own a carpet cleaning business, you 100% can put, hey, call John Smith carpet cleaning at da da da. Like, and then, you know, um, Chris Carpet Cleaners can also put his hat in and then she can choose, right?
Right, but
Um,
then if they put their hat in and 10 people come on and say, "Oh, I love them. Oh, they did a phenomenal job for me," then you start to you
I
start
mean,
to
I
get a
had a
sense of where
hairdresser
you
tell
want to
me
go
to
with it,
stop.
huh?
Right. I mean, I've had people tell me before, stop putting my name out there. I'm
I
too
too
busy.
much
I'm
business, yeah.
yeah, and so a lot of people have made quite done quite well off ask and answer my free service. And I'm not going to lie, I struggle with that a little bit. But I mean, I don't want to change the integrity of it, so I'm not going to.
Is there any part of you that has that moments where you're like, okay, where's my money in all this?
I would be a liar if I hadn't thought that. I
I
mean, I'm a
mean,
single
yeah,
mom.
it's a
I'm a
lot of
single mom.
work.
It
I've
is.
done things like this, so I know. So,
It
and when I
is.
look at it, when I look at it and I see, um, again, just the follow through, like, again, crazy concept, following through on stories, and and what's next and what's needed and how do
Yep.
we connect the community in this. That is a lot of work, and I've
Yes.
seen this time and again on the page, and it again,
The biggest
yeah,
work is not even that, it's the coordinating. So and so has a bed to donate, and I know that so and so needs a bed, but then it's the coordinating the pickup. And well, when can she come? Well, wait a minute, I need a truck. Okay, the guy backed out from the truck, so can you ask her to that the coordinating is so much work. It is so much work. So that if I could figure that out, that would be great. But again, delegation.
yeah,
So or just connect them outright, right? If all parties are willing to be known. So yeah, coordinating behind the scenes is an incredible amount of work, especially during something like Matthew.
yeah,
Once the real emergency was over, that was you know, um, the Red Cross said, I did not realize how, you hear that there's a fire and, you see on the news, WSAV, Red Cross was involved. And everybody's like, oh, thank God. No, Red Cross is wonderful. They give you $200 to get everything you need when you just lost everything in a fire. And they pay for 1 or 2 nights of a hotel room. And then you're on your own.
yeah.
I mean, it's great that you can have socks, underwear, and a toothbrush, but that it's not like sustained.
It's a
They come
start,
in
but
for
it's like, yeah, like you said, it all
right.
goes away. All
So
that support goes
we
away.
have
Yeah,
furnished. We had several fires within like 2 weeks of each other, and that was another thing. And people will push back on me a lot, but I learned so much during Matthew with the actual items and the sorting and the storage, and it's not helpful. People think, oh, I'll just clean out my closet. It, People want to help, and that's a way that they feel that they can, but you have to help where it's the best help for the people that are in need, and not just what makes you feel like you've helped.
right.
If you really want to help, then you need to do it for what they actually need. And I have gotten a lot of pushback because people don't realize that all the items coming into a hurricane ridden area require storage and sorting, and how to get physical items into an area that may be flooded. Whereas if you could order them Amazon, or so there have been other places that I have tried to coordinate, and I get like a church, and we have then locally I'll put the word out and we will send Amazon cards or like what they actually need. Because I mean, my house became a warehouse for Matthew stuff. And, one thing I am proud of though is we adopted 50 kids after Matthew and like gave Christmas. I don't mean like an outfit and a stocking, like Christmas. Santa and all of his elves came because the community was so amazing. And so pretty much every year
When you say
we,
adopted, how did that happen?
again, my friend said, hey, I know of a kid that could use a few toys. Like they're not really going to get. And I'm like, let's go ahead and put it on because, at the beginning of December is when you do like all the office parties and like you get the toys that your kid will never really play with. But thanks, John. Thanks for the thought. And it goes in a closet.
Right.
That was my thought,
Yeah.
was like, ooh, maybe somebody has closet toys and they can, whatever, put it up. We'll see what happens. Yeah, 50 kids later. Um, it was beautiful and a lot of work and amazing and lots of tears. And I had families come to my house and pick up. And I mean, I had dads cry, moms cry. Like, it was beautiful. And then all the people that gave. Um, we had a wrapping party at my house, and um, it was really neat. So, um, yeah, that need after Matthew just kept going for months. And then the next year, I had a personal experience with a good friend of mine whose children got taken into foster care. And she since has them back and all is well, but that was really rough. And, foster care kids get like one gift and a backpack or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not that. So we adopted some children and they got Christmas. And we got them all new bikes, but it's not me, it's the community. Like, I couldn't do this if the community wasn't willing to give. So, our community is amazing. Like, there's nowhere else like it.
It is. I can't. I can't properly describe to people. I never thought I'd be down here. I came down here to become the GM of the Sand Gnats back in 2004.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't work. So, um, uh, ended
But
up.
there is a lot of need here.
Yeah.
People think that it's all middle class,
Oh, and
upper
it's yeah,
class.
it's all Wexford and beaches, but there is a lot of need,
There's a
and
lot of need.
but like you said, it's mind blowing, just the way the community comes together down here, and uh, it feels like nirvana, like this oasis in the middle of all this chaos. Quite honestly, every time I go somewhere else and fly back, or it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's all there.
Yeah. Um, well, I will just, yeah, I will say to you, in terms of partnering, I want to work with you,
Oh,
and
thank you.
because and I honestly, I hope that this helps in these officials and organizations understanding, that there is some order to this. A lot of
Oh,
times when people
absolutely.
see the pages like this, they think it's just like this, free for all. And so to understand there's some order to this, there's uh, I'm not gonna say
There's a reason
yeah,
why we do things,
yeah,
and it has come with a lot of learning curves and some tears and some, um, we just, and we don't accept any moderator that wants to moderate because you have to kind of flow with us.
yep,
Um, and not that you can't think differently, because like I said, like, um, we discuss a lot of things. Um, sometimes some of our moderators will take breaks. I myself have said, okay, mental health weekend, enjoy.
sure.
um,
What do you
we
do
were
for
playing.
fun, Heather? You're so like I'm not gonna say serious, but like you're very empathetic and you get involved. But like, what do you do for do you have binge shows you like? Do you what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Um, I was just talking to my friend last night about I miss the fun Heather I used to be. Um, what do I do? I do like to read. I don't do that anymore. I don't know. I'm busy. Yes, binge watch Bridgerton, of course, was awesome. I
What
definitely
was
got
that?
into that. Bridgerton.
Bridgerton, yes.
I didn't finish it yet on purpose because I don't want it to end yet. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm online all the time and I'm working. I have my my big job that is a lot too. So,
You said
which
new
I love
job.
it.
Did that just happen recently, or was that a promotion? Or
No, I started in
oh
August, so I
wow,
work for the 14th Circuit Court.
congratulations.
Say court. Um, so yeah, thank you. I do enjoy it, and I get to do more of what I already do on Ask and Answer, and so that's awesome. And I love true crime, and so I get to play in that a lot, and you know, connect people to resources and do all kinds of things behind the scenes.
What was your Bridgerton name? Did you do
Oh,
any of
right.
those?
Yes. Lady Heather of Halsey, I think, because it was your street name or something. I
Yeah,
don't remember. The first street you grew up on, Lady Heather. I don't remember.
yeah.
It was actually a cool one, though. I'm like, oh, I like that. Lady Heather Halsey of Bridgerton. I don't remember. It was a cool
I
one.
came to it late. I came to it because I hadn't watched it. I mean, it's one of those shows that everybody's talking about, and I just hadn't watched it yet. I saw the dude on SNL, and it was the best SNL episode I'd watched. I'm a huge SNL guy, and it's the best episode in years, literally.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing. They did this hilarious skit about like men listening to the. Do you know the song "Driver's License" by Olivia Rodrigo? Have you
Yeah.
heard that on the radio at all? It's this like very Taylor Swift sort of song, and so there's a whole
Yep.
skit about dudes like I don't know about that, but if I did, it would like it was by the end they're all singing it. It was hilarious. But yeah, so that's how I was like, oh, I get this dude's awesome. I
Yeah,
gotta
that
watch
was
this
an
show.
amazing show. Of course, I'm a Grey's Anatomy, Station 19, True
The whole
SVU. One thing
Chandra
I have done,
universe.
oh yeah, she's amazing.
Yep.
One thing I did do recently was there's and I'm probably going to mispronounce it, Whippoorwill Farm
Yep.
on the other side of Ridgeland.
Yep.
So my friend got, you can camp there. And they have a retro camper. And my friend had rented it for a couple nights. So my daughter and I went out there, and I mean, we were gathering firewood and made s'mores, and we walked the farm a few times, and it was awesome. I think about going over back a lot. And I don't like the heat, so I need to hurry up and do it
Yeah.
before it gets too
Yep.
hot. I'm live in South Carolina, and I don't like the heat. Um, so beach. I don't know. I used to do a lot more stuff. I'm just busy.
I'm with you on the heat though.
Yeah, I don't
That
like
was a
it.
huge adjustment. Uh,
Yeah, still not there
no,
30
and,
years
and
later.
and my wife's even worse with it.
I don't like
And
it.
I get it though. But
My air conditioner in my
I'll take
car.
the heat over the snow any day.
No,
So
I like the snow, but the air conditioning in my car went out, so I got to hurry up
this turned
and
into a
get that
much longer
fixed.
and again, like I really appreciate the time. This turned into a much longer
Absolutely.
conversation than I expected, and I really appreciate that. Like I said, I want these conversations to breathe. Maybe I'll edit and just edit it down into specific questions or sections, but
Sure.
and then and also post the whole thing. But what do you want people to know about ask and answer and um, not that you have like this 5 year plan or anything, but like where it's headed or what folks should know when they get uh, when they join the group.
Um, I can't control other people. So, there's different personalities, but most things are intentional. It does ebb and flow. Sometimes it seems like there'll be a little bit of chaos or people kind of stirring the pot, and then, that kind of smooths itself out and it goes back. So it's just, it's very fluid a lot of times, but 95% of what occurs on how it has become has been intentional. And when I see it going in a different direction, we as a team, really look hard at what's going on and try and keep it civil and light and fun and as positive as we can. We're probably going to try and bring back some of the fun. We used to do Fun Friday and ask a silly question and let everybody answer Thankful Thursday and that kind of stuff. I posted something the other day where people could thank or shout out to people that they cared about or loved or that helped them grow their garden, I called it. So, um, just look at the big picture and there's always going to be petty betties and we just keep it moving.
Awesome.
you know
I appreciate very much you kind of the guinea pig here in terms of what we're doing with this. And
Well, thanks for having me. I'm
yeah,
flattered you wanted me to talk.
no, I again, I'm I, I have had a lot of corporate jobs and probably would still have them if I was more of a suck up. So I'm really not a suck up. I just it this is everything that um I've always believed that community journalism and community reporting and should be, can be, and so it's really cool. And so like when I was like, all right, who do I want to talk to? Like you are at the top of the list, so I really
Thank
appreciate it
you.
very
Oh,
much,
thank
and
you so much.
congratulations on everything you guys have done with it. And when you said, "Oh, we're going to talk more," I said, "Well, yeah, I would love to just have you on. I wanted to have a longer conversation to start. I would love to have you or moderators on just to talk about what's like shorter conversation, 5 minutes or so, about what's happening on the page this week because I think like
Oh,
it
great.
starts
Yeah.
to scroll down and you start to lose something, but there's like so much going on, and so
There's a
I would
lot
love
of
to just have
content.
that.
There is a lot of content.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
huge appreciation, Heather Price. Huge appreciation for coming on and everything you're doing with it. It's Bluffton Hilton Head Ask and Answer now, original.
Original.
So there's always somebody that's doing something like that, but there's a
There are
copycat out there.
several,
Yeah,
and several pages have been born. Um, I think the rant and rave page because I wouldn't allow that,
yeah.
and so that got started. Bad drivers, I wouldn't allow.
I
You know,
I am. What's the rants and raves?
I don't. You can go on and
Yeah,
just rant. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. I saw the bad drivers. That gets a little dicey.
I mean, it's entertaining. I'm not
It
gonna lie.
is
I go on there.
absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm sure that I think everybody around is like, oh, don't you make a mistake or have your phone in your hand, and I have thought, oh God, don't anybody take a picture and put me on that page. So several pages have kind of spun off of Ask and Answer, and they say imitation's a form of flattery, and that's all well and good, but because we've been so intentional and because I try to have integrity and in what we put out and do, I knew that there were people joining these other pages thinking that it was this one.
Yes.
And I've had to let a lot of that go. But I've had people screenshot me things that are happening and then realize it's not this Ask and Answer page. And, I'm not going to lie. It's get your own name.
If you're seeing this somewhere else around the web, um, or on social media, look for the original. It literally
Yes.
says original on the sign up. Look for the original.
Yes. Thank you.
It's where you want to be. So,
Thank you.
huge thank you. Hope this is the first of many conversations. Um, I again, I just it's an incredible resource, and the intention that you've put behind it, it shows, and I respect the hell out of you for how
Oh,
you've been
thank
able to
you.
build it. So
Sometimes I don't, because it's, like I said, I put my head down and just the next question, the next this, the next that. I don't very often take a look back and see where, like how, and until I have conversations where like this, where I can kind of go through the evolution of it. And it is pretty cool.
it is,
Yeah.
and congratulations on what you've been able to build, and it's like I said, it's for me for my money, it's the number one media resource out there, whatever media is now. It's what it should be. What you're
Thank
doing
you.
there is what it should be.
That
What it.
means a lot. And, we have a good team. It's not just me.
Yep.
So, I mean, even if, it was my brainchild, it just kind of, again, I couldn't do it without them for sure. Um, and, we all volunteer, which is another kind of aspect of it. So, I know that they also care about it. So
Awesome.
I'm glad that you see that. Thank you.
Thanks for all that you guys are doing for the community. I know you probably get. I hope you get a lot of follow through in terms of the thank yous and the and because I hear it from a lot of people. I hope you're
Some
hearing that.
people have done some really nice things for me and for our team. So that is, here and there we'll get some nice things or thank yous, and that's awesome. We appreciate it a lot.
Awesome.
And I think it shows that we all love where we live.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Heather. Thank you again for
Thank
the time.
you. Absolutely. Take care.